Coming to you live from the Wicked Curiosity Studios in Knoxville, Tennessee, it's Behind the Screen Radio Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Cinephiles. I am your host, Dan. Joining me in the studio tonight is the lovely Miss Angel.
Hello.
And joining us live from his studio in the great state of Michigan is Alex.
Hello.
And from his studio in the great state of North Carolina, Nemesis.
Hello.
You can join us as well. All you got to do is call in 718-664-9735. Again, 718-664-9735. And that'll bring you directly to the studio with us. We are also streaming live on our...
Wait, you made transporters? You made a transporter to bring them in?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All they got to do is dial the number, and they come into the studio with us.
Aha. We'll figure that one out later.
I will not tell my secrets.
I have to make sure my mic's coming in on the stream over there. I'm good. We're good. Sorry.
Alrighty. We are also streaming live on Behind the Screen Radio Facebook page. So head on over there and look us up.
We are also streaming live from where?
Nemesis? We're streaming live.
We're on over on my trusty friend Bearded Hank Hill 1 Twitch.
All right. So we've got a couple places that we are streaming live from. So hit up those places and give us a message.
Yeah.
How much stuff did you actually get from creative?
Thinking on the Facebook page. Give it a like, share, and follow. That way you keep up with the live feeds and everything else going on within the Facebook land and Behind the Screen Radio Show. Also head on over to Wiki Curiosity Media's Facebook page. Give them a like, share, and follow. From Wiki Curiosity Media's Facebook page, you can access the website, www.wikicuriosity.wixsite.com/WCmedia. It is a lot to say. It's lots of types. Just click on the link. On the website, you can check out pictures. You can check out the blogs. You can check out different information about the shows. There are links to the YouTube channel, Wiki Curiosity Media, where we've got some interesting videos and stuff like that. I also will be uploading our live feeds onto our YouTube channel. On the Facebook page, on the website, you can also access all of our older shows. All the shows that have ever been on any Wicked Curiosity property, whether it was radio network or media. YouTube channel. Yeah, I think I got everything.
I hope so.
I think so.
You sound like you do anyway.
Yeah, I think I pretty much hit every aspect of that. All right. It is Wednesday night. We are halfway through the work week.
We are at the top of the hill.
No, we're over everybody.
Yes. Yeah. So, how has everybody been?
Good.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
It is.
That's how I've been. It's Wednesday.
Well, that's good. I was actually off today, so Yesterday and today were my Saturday and Sunday. So.
I like Saturdays and Sundays.
I like it too when I don't have to work.
But today is Wednesday. No,
yeah. Yes.
I also do have an interview with a new job coming up Friday evening. I'm kind of excited.
Nice. Congrats.
Thank you.
We wish the best of luck for you.
Sounds like a new adventure.
It is. I'll go into more detail later. Not right now, though.
Good.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing all of the good news.
Yeah. I gotta throw.
Alex.
Yes.
Anything interesting on your side of the world?
Not really.
Yeah, how is it in Michigan? Is it snowy, sunny? What is it?
We have a shit ton of snow. Yeah, we got like, I don't even know how much. It's a lot though. It's kind of annoying, but I like it. I like the snow. I made a snow fort for our dogs, and they like it.
That's
I guess.
Cool.
I don't know. I haven't really seen them use it all too much, but it's a thought that counts.
It was actually unseasonably warm today.
It was what, 60 degrees?
65 degrees out of nowhere, and now we're gonna drop back down
2
to
days
like
ago,
40s and 30s. And
2 days ago, we woke up to snow.
Right.
And it's 65 degrees today.
And then like next week we're supposed to snow again.
Yeah.
I would love to get some sort of winter stuff down this way, but no such luck.
We had a brisk 19 degrees today. It was pretty warm.
Yeah. So Misty May, who, for those of us who don't know, is a part-time host when she's able to, and she's in Oklahoma. They actually have had nothing but dangerous ice for like the last 2 days. She lives out literally like out in the middle of nowhere. They have like a Dollar General and a little mini mart right there that's close to them, within walking distance, and that's about it. And the last couple days I've had to send her messages because they don't have Wi-Fi. Please do not get out. Like all of my friends in Oklahoma, all I hear all morning is about all the wrecks and how the cars are just sliding off the road. And I'm like, please do not drive anywhere. Please stay home.
Hell, I can't even get that around here. Give me something. Give me something that keeps me out of work. I mean, give me something that's fun to play in.
I don't know. We don't even have snow anymore here. We could get a foot of snow. The kids would go out and play. They'd still have school. But we have a lot of parents that are like, nah, it's a snow day. Don't turn the computer on.
Yeah, about that.
I don't know. According to Mr. whatever his groundhog name is, so we're supposed to get we're supposed to get 6 more weeks of winter. I feel like maybe he might not have called it correctly.
He sounds like a real weatherman right now.
Right.
I was going to say, a rodent does not a weatherman make.
Well, neither do the people on our TV.
This is true.
To be fair, think about the day that Groundhog Day falls on, okay? You take Groundhog Day that's on February 2nd, which is technically 6 more weeks away from the turn of the season. So yes, in a sense, there is 6 more weeks of winter every time there's a Groundhog Day. But he's a liar.
He's a liar. It was
down near 70 here yesterday, and I'm like, what the hell is this? 6 more weeks of winter shit.
Right. Like I got up this morning and I bundled up and I had my hoodie on and I had long pants on. And I was like, hey, I'm ready for the day. We left the house, and about halfway through leaving the house, I was like, I really should have worn a t-shirt. I'm really hot. This is horrible.
Well, I spent most of the day, other than going shopping with you earlier, most of the day on the couch.
You took him shopping?
I did, because we have, Valentine's Day is coming, and a bunch of little people that don't get to have a Valentine's Day party or anything like that. So we were trying to find a way to make it fun.
I was going to say, I'm sorry that you had to get drug out there, Dan. I really am.
Well, it was of my own accord. I didn't get anything out of it,
but it was worth it.
I mean, I got a green tea.
My wife hit me with a, "What you getting me for Valentine's Day?" I said, "Nothing now."
Well,
I will be honest. I do not like Valentine's Day. I am not a big fan.
Halloween.
But my kids like it, so we're gonna. I always do something extra special for Dan and the kids for Valentine's Day. And plus, this year it is almost. It's been a year since we've not only gone on a date, but like sat in a restaurant. So we are actually going out for an early dinner on Valentine's Day. So I'm looking forward to that.
I will be working on Valentine's Day.
I'm sorry. I specifically asked for it off so I could take her out to dinner.
No, when you're the only two, there's only two of you that work in an area of an entertainment business. Yeah, you get no days off.
Yeah. I'm sure clown porn is popular down there. So
whoa. Not reference clown porn. That's not something I would ever reference to anyone in public.
Sorry, I've seen your videos. They're
Whoa, hey!
Funny.
Those are funny.
Oh, I learned today that my body does not like McDonald's. Definitely does not like a cinnamon roll the size of a dinner plate, and then Taco Bell on top of that.
Yeah, it was dumb. It was dumb, Joey. Dan. It was dumb.
It was dumb.
It was bad food choices for like half the week.
Yeah.
And like our daughter and I have been eating clean for almost a month, and I wanted to die today. No. Now I know why we don't do it.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
So.
Back to the clean foods.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to the clean foods for a while until I forget.
You need to sweat it out of my body.
Well, my asshole's gonna have that knowledge with diet very shortly.
Oh, thank you for sharing. The pros of being married. Thank you.
There's pros. What?
I get my coffee made every morning.
He does, and his lunch.
And my lunch.
That's you being married to her. But the pros of being married to you? Wait a minute.
Oh, there are no pros to being married to me. I'll tell you that right off the bat. I am difficult. I'm egotistical. I'm an asshole. I'm demanding. I'm mean. I'm not mean. I can't be mean.
I agree with all of the above.
But look, I bring in money and pay the bills, so there's the upside to that.
No, your bank brings in the money and she pays the bills, right?
Yeah.
I teach the kids.
That's why we call it exchange day, not payday.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other people in this family that call it exchange day too.
Right?
They're like, fuck this shit.
It's like my bank is the routing number for all of my bill accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get paid? I did. We can do no. We gotta pay bills. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm the no fun one because as soon as money comes in, he's like, hey, want to go do this? No. There's bills to pay. We're doing that first.
What bills? Bills? What bills?
So many bills.
Yeah.
Any Hoosier.
So, as we do every Cinephiles, I've got this day in movie history.
Yeah.
So in 1939, the movie Stagecoach, directed by John Ford and starring Claire Trevor and John Wayne, premiered in Miami.
Cool.
In 1940, Tom and Jerry cartoon, created by William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, debuted by MGM. Shows you how long Tom and Jerry's been around.
Yes. And they're getting a movie.
Yeah. Half live action, half cartoon. I don't think it's going to be any good.
I will pass.
Yeah. In 1989, to gain deregulation, WWF admits pro wrestling is an exhibition and not a sport in a New Jersey court.
It is sports entertainment.
Yes. Yeah. Birthdays for today, we've got Robert Wagner, who's 91, Laura Dern, who's 54, and Elizabeth Banks, who is 47. And on this day in 2014, Shirley Temple passed away.
Aww.
No.
I loved me some Shirley Temple.
Well, she was definitely not as young as she used to be.
No.
This is true.
No. And that's all I have. So, that's all I've got for that.
That's all you've got?
That's all I've got.
God, dang. These movies have so many fun facts.
And we'll get to that here in just a minute.
I'm just saying.
No, I know.
It's nonstop.
Okay. So before we get started with the show, we're going to go ahead and take a small break. And we'll be back.
Behind the screen, we'll be right back.
Too many plans and schemes.
Welcome back to Behind the Screen Radio Show.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Tonight we are discussing the Lord of the Rings trilogy. If you would like to discuss them with us or talk to us about them or just talk to us, you can call in 718-664-9735. Again, 718-664-9735, or hit us up on our live feed. So, the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and Return of the King.
No,
Trilogy.
your disdain for it, but you still know all three movies. Congratulations!
I do. So, the books were originally written by J.R.R. Tolkien, and then adapted into 3 feature-length live-action movies by Peter Jackson. And when they were released, they were the talk of the movie world. Cinephiles everywhere loved them. People that, were huge fantasy movie buffs loved them. People that loved the novels loved them. People that loved Peter Jackson loved the movies. They were pretty much loved everywhere by everybody.
Well, and they did really, really well with sticking to the books. I've read the books.
Right. I mean, I read them a long time ago.
They're very long books.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, they are long books.
They are, and they're interesting books, and they do follow along pretty well with the books. Peter Jackson did a good job following that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the movies being as long as they were, they couldn't have condensed any more from the book without compromising the story.
Right. But
What?
I have an issue with these stories.
What? Of course you do.
I have an issue with these stories.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to put out is that Peter Jackson is a good director. I mean, he's done quite a few things that I've liked. I like The Frighteners. I like King Kong. The way that the movies were done, he did very well. So I'm not going to bash on Peter Jackson too much. I like the way that he incorporated the heights of the hobbits into the story. The camera angles that he had were absolutely perfect, so as not to take away from the fantasy of the size of the hobbits to the rest of the creatures on Middle Earth. His use of children as hobbits in faraway shots, because you can obviously tell they're children. In the faraway shots, you can obviously tell they're children. You can tell by the way they run, by the way they move, because they kind of waddle. And they do.
They're wobbly.
And you can definitely tell the difference in running styles with a child versus an adult.
And you couldn't really use a little person in that either, because these hobbits walked like normal people. Most of the now, I'm not saying that all the little people walk weird. They do.
Well, hip dysphagia, things like that. That's normal.
Yeah.
So you had to get little children.
Yeah, and I think that was a brilliant idea by Peter Jackson. Again, I don't have any issues with Peter Jackson as a director, like I do James Cameron. Because after Titanic, James Cameron had exploded.
Let's just say he wishes it was Michael Bay that directed these. I know.
No, no, no. I don't have a problem with the way that they were done. What I have a problem with is the story written by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Right.
One of the biggest issues I have, and I don't remember if this was in the book necessarily, but in the movies, in every movie, in all three of the movies, they literally said the title of the movie in the movie, and they made it poignantly clear. In the first one, when they were in the Elves Land, I don't remember what it's called, Elven Land, whatever.
Elves Land.
Santa's Workshop, whatever.
Are you talking about Hobbiton or in where the elves were?
Where the elves live.
Okay.
And, they were talking about taking the ring to Mount Doom to destroy it. They were like, okay, now you seven have become the Fellowship of the Ring. And they made it
literally.
Rivendell.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Rivendell.
Yes.
Okay.
And then it's literally supposed to be the Fellowship of the Ring.
I understand. But in the Two Towers, Saruman does the same thing. When he's talking about having Sauron's tower and then Isengard built, he's like, and these will become the Two Towers. And then Gandalf does the same thing. It says Gandalf does the same thing in
Return of the King?
Yeah, Return of the King. I don't remember the name of the land.
Aragon was the name of the king.
Right. No, I know that, but it was the land that they were in. It wasn't the one that starts with the G. It was the one after that. The third one that they attacked, or the second one that they attacked.
Minas Tirith.
Yes. Yeah.
That was not a G.
No, it said it wasn't the one with the G because they were talking about attacking the one that starts with the G.
Yeah, it was Minas Tirith.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. And he
Let me go
literally
strangle
said,
my son really quick. I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, you're fine. And he literally says, you better watch out for the return of the king. It wasn't subtle. And I don't know of any other movie that literally states the name of the movie in the movie.
Almost every weird movie known to man.
The thing is it was just.
Yeah, I get it. It was just.
It was.
So your only flaw with the movie was the fact that they stated the title of the movie in the movie.
No, that is not my only flaw.
It's like they were trying to break the fourth wall without it being obvious, but it was pretty obvious.
I happen to enjoy movies that break the fourth wall, though. Thank you very much.
This was just like, it wasn't really a fourth wall break. It was just a break.
Yeah, this was them saying, we know you know the name of the movie, but we're going to just kind of put it there to emphasize that that's what these movies are called.
It's like there should have been a nod and wink after they said it.
Yes, exactly.
Like, you guys get it? We just said the title of the movie in the movie. You guys, no. It was just stupid.
Yeah.
It's the Return of the King. Guys, I said it. It's the Return of the King. It's like, shut up. Like, you never once hear Luke Skywalker go, guys, the Empire struck back. What's a doozy on this one? It's like, no. We all know what happened. You gotta point it out.
Yeah.
Well, they had to find their title somewhere, and they happened to find it in the script. Maybe the script was written before the title.
It was probably in the book.
Well, I mean, and I get that, but you don't ever hear Han Solo saying, "Oh my God, it's the Return of the Empire," you know, or it's the Return of the Jedi. Oh my God, the Empire is striking back. Luke Skywalker saying, "I am Return of the Jedi."
I mean, Luke did say in The Last Jedi, but that movie was an abomination.
We don't count those movies. We don't count those movies at all.
He said Rey was the last Jedi, and then it was a dumpster fire.
It'd be like Rey saying, "I am the rise of the Skywalker." I can feel the
Shut
force.
up. You're such a nerd.
But it was
The Force has awakened.
That line, those lines, like stuck out so
It should
prominently
have
to
been
you.
called The Redemption of
3-hour
Palpatine.
movies.
Okay.
It's just weird. It didn't flow naturally.
It
Like,
didn't.
know.
It was.
I can see his problem with it, but I mean, it's just a line. And maybe they could have kept it out, but I don't see how they could have. In fact, that would have been something that people who watched the book would have noticed.
Yeah, it was just
The
awful.
whole movie was just ruined.
It's like they wrote the book, like you guys said, like they wrote the book, and they were like, "What stuck out in this book? The Return of the King. That's the title."
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with you two.
I mean, it could have been something like way cooler, like Destruction of the Ring, or The Ring is No More.
That's exactly what they did. They destroyed the ring. So that would have made the movie just that much more terrible.
Let's talk
But I mean, I
about
guess they
Fellowship
would
of the
have
Ring.
said, "We're gonna destroy the ring in the Destruction of the Ring."
Why don't we call it Frodo got his finger bit off?
Here's a crazy idea. Why don't we just call it Lord of the Rings 1, 2, and 3?
That's what I do anyway.
There you go. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3.
Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3.
No. You cannot steal from the Star Wars legacy.
That's been done already.
It has. It cannot be redone.
But I mean, if we look at another series that adapted from book to film, did they like? I guess they kind of did it in the Harry Potter movies, like. But they didn't call Sirius Black. Oh, that's the Prisoner of Azkaban.
No.
They do. I don't know. I never watched Harry Pothead or Potter or whatever.
What?
Don't judge me. I hated it.
I'm totally judging.
I mean, so in the Harry Potter movies, they do kind of hint at and even say, the name of the movie because.
Right, but it's not
in
obvious and like
not.
cliche, I guess would be a word to use. Like they don't like when the first time they see Sirius Black, they're not like, "Oh my God, it's the Prisoner of Azkaban." No, they're like, "Oh, he's trying to kill me." Okay, move on.
He's from Azkaban. He was a prisoner there.
Yeah, like everybody knows what is going on. You don't need to point out the
I
obvious.
have no clue what was going on.
I mean, even if you look at the Sorcerer's Stone, which is supposed to be Philosopher's Stone, but we won't get into that. Even if you look at the Sorcerer's Stone, they don't really say it's the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah.
In Chamber of Secrets, they do say the Chamber of Secrets has been opened.
Okay, well
But
maybe we
that's
should talk about the Harry Potter movies one day.
Part of the movie, though.
Right?
Unmuted.
Like the Return of
not
the King
talking
or the
about Harry
Fellowship of the
Potter.
Ring.
He's not
Yeah,
lying.
but there's not like there's not a devoted scene where it's just the return of the king.
What would you
No.
call it?
Yeah.
Well, this isn't about the Hobbit.
It's absolutely about.
It's about the Lord of the Rings. But it's
Whoa, we're practicing kindness this week.
it's just the way that they did it. It was the emphasis that they put on the title of the movie.
Muted.
It was "You will become the Fellowship of the Ring,"
I think
this will be known as the Two Towers.
Well, then I guess they should have called it
Return of the
You
King.
Will Not Pass.
Right?
Right.
Right. But I think you need to move on. There's
Okay.
so much more to these movies.
There is. Let's get into the Fellowship of the Ring.
I do want to point out, though, that there was a huge fight over who was going to play Aragorn?
Aragon. Yeah. The
Like,
Return of the King.
there was multiple big-name stars that were trying for that role. Like, Bruce Willis was one of them.
I cannot see Bruce Willis as.
I loved it. So,
This
honestly,
tonight's episode should have been titled "Everything Dan Hates About Lord of the Rings."
right? I actually, I read the books multiple times as a kid, and I watched all the movies at some point with my mother, and I was young, and so they just seemed really long to me, and I didn't really look forward to watching them again, but I enjoy them more now.
Yeah.
I do have a love for them. I have read the books.
I will say, okay, as somebody who appreciates all aspects of movies, I will say that they were done very well. It's the stories that I have a problem with. No, they're not bad movies. It's the story that I have a problem with. Gandalf.
It's the same story that was in the book.
I understand, which is why I'm having an issue with it. But it's the story that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Let's talk about Gandalf for a minute.
I love Gandalf.
Gandalf was useless.
I love Gandalf. Shut up.
Gandalf was
Take
useless.
that back.
Not useless.
You take that
Okay.
back.
Other than 2 times that I can make perfectly clear, the time in the mountains where he says, "You shall not pass."
He was
And
really there as a guide, though.
hold on, and destroys that big monster, and then
Pretty useful.
when he comes running with his big Patronus staff and getting rid of the
I'm going to show you a Patronus staff. Hang on a second. How would you
What
feel
would they
if
call
you
it?
were 7,500 and some odd years old? Huh? Would you
the
want to
thing
fight?
is, the thing is he doesn't perform any magic other than those 2.
But he was really there as a
He
guide.
makes light in the cave.
He's a wizard.
But he was
I
there
can
as a
make a light
guide.
with my cell phone.
And
Like-
you're a wizard. There you go.
I can make
They
light
could
with
have
a...
used they could have used a torch.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
And
Ian
if-
McKellen is amazing, and I
I
love him.
love Ian McKellen. Love
I kind
Ian
of do like
McKellen.
Gandalf though. He's pretty cool.
Thank you.
But he was
I like
useless.
it's not about his usefulness though. It's about what he brings to the table. I mean, he is an old man and he can't do much physical like usefulness, but he's very smart.
He did get his ass kicked by Saruman, though.
He
Yeah,
did,
he got his ass-
but then again, he's an old man.
Saruman is older. Saruman beat the fuck out of him. Saruman was his mentor.
Okay, but he's built
Saruman-
different. Okay, he's just a different breed. Gandalf, old frail wizard.
But then he comes
Not a
back
fighter.
as Gandalf the White, renewed as a powerful wizard that does nothing but chase away the what were those black creatures called again? God damn it, I can't think.
I don't know. You were the ones that watched these
Or-
movies.
No, but no, not the orcs. The ones riding the big dragons.
What the hell? The 7 that were chasing Frodo at the start.
Yes, yeah. And all he did.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
What's that?
the 9.
The 9, yeah. The 9 original bearers of the rings.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the ring race?
Yes, yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
There we go.
All he did was shine a big light and scare them away. Like,
It was useful.
That light is
But that's all he
scary as
did.
shit.
I mean, they all pretty much died anyway.
Yeah.
No. No, Frodo was not with those. Frodo was not with that group. It was pointless.
You're pointless. Gosh.
Okay.
So, fun fact.
Fun fact. Yes, let's get some fun facts.
Director Peter Jackson gave one of the rings used in the movies to Elijah Wood and one to Andy Serkis as gifts when the shoot was finished. They both each thought they had the only one.
I have the one ring. One ring to rule them all.
I will admit that my favorite character was definitely Gollum.
Not mine.
You go away.
I had a huge love growing up. Like, I always, and I do want to go back and watch the Hobbit movies because I had a huge love for Bilbo Baggins. Elijah Wood is not what I pictured in my head when I read the book.
That's Frodo.
Oh, that's Frodo. Well, Bilbo. I always loved Bilbo. He was always my favorite. My aunt had a cat named Bilbo. Bilbo Baggins. He was awesome. It's true.
I believe you.
I think she had multiple cats named after characters from. She did. She had a Frodo.
Yeah.
Yep. He was black, like a black cat. His name was Frodo. He was super cool too.
So.
Why is his name that, by the way? I don't like it because it makes me laugh every time.
So let's talk about the Fellowship of the Ring.
Okay, that's where yeah.
The first one.
Yes.
So the ring is discovered in Bilbo's home. It's given to Frodo so that he can look after it and stuff like that. And then Gandalf says that you must take it to the fires of Mount Doom in Mordor and destroy it.
Right.
So they set off to do this, and then they get to which one was the elf land? I'm sorry.
Rivendell.
Rivendell, yeah. And they have these 7 people that are supposed to protect Frodo and help him on his journey. Well, not even halfway through the journey, right at the very start of the journey, they basically say, fuck Frodo and Sam, let them do their thing.
Which kind of ended up, I'm not going to lie, the scene with Frodo, Sam, and Smeagol.
Yeah.
Where he sends Sam away.
Yeah.
That hurt. That hurt me for him.
Yeah.
Like, you're a crappy friend. That's horrible.
The thing is you've got these 2 hobbits who have never been out of the Shire.
They're just little people.
That are ignorant to the rest of Middle Earth. Don't know the danger.
Sam is a very naive hobbit.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say he's naive because he's more insightful than Frodo was because
soft-hearted.
He knew Smeagol's.
Yes, he was a very soft-hearted hobbit, though. He wasn't. He didn't have thick skin.
Right.
That's what I mean. He was very soft.
I mean, you had all these warriors.
They didn't send one with them. No protector.
No, they're like, oh, let them go on their own. They'll be fine. And Gandalf was right there. He's like, okay, yeah, they'll be fine. Let's go do our thing. Let's go find the other 2 hobbits that were idiots and ran away.
Of course, still followed along with the books. Right. It's true to the story. And if you think about it, the story originally was never meant to be a movie. So we're gonna look at it from a movie point of view and be like, that was stupid as fuck.
Well, as a story point of view, it's stupid. Why would you let these 2 go off by themselves? They have no formal fighting skills. They barely know where they're going. Like
Because they don't make
have
characters and they never get hurt.
Exactly. The thing is Gandalf was supposed to be their guy,
Mhm.
and Gandalf said, "Fuck you, we're going this way."
I don't know what to
Like,
tell you.
why would you do that? From a story point of view, it makes absolutely no sense that you would let these two creatures with this very powerful item go off on their own and hope that they make it. That'd be like us sending our children down to the post office by themselves in the middle of the night and hoping that they drop the check off to the checkoff, drop the payment in the box for the electricity.
I don't know.
Like, why would you do that? What is the point of that?
I don't know. It was just a story that was written, and you got to remember how old these books are too. Like, it was just a story that was written. Fun fact though, one of my favorite scenes in the first movie, because I love Hobbiton. It's one of my favorite parts of all the books. I love where the hobbits live in their homes, and in the books, so descriptive. Like, you can picture this whole home. So the part where Gandalf comes to Hobbiton and is looking for Bilbo, and bangs his head. That was not scripted.
No, not at all.
But I love the fact that he played through it. And kept it. But yeah, that big bang, no, that was not on purpose. That was totally not on purpose.
There's a bunch of interesting things that were in the movie. We'll go through them eventually. That weren't supposed to be there.
I have a question about the story.
Sure.
I don't know if I didn't read up on it enough, but in the Hobbit movies, why didn't Bilbo Baggins just destroy the ring? Why didn't he do it himself instead of waiting all those years for Frodo to do it?
Well, he didn't intend that it was going to be Frodo's job.
Well, so the ring has this hold over
the wearer,
or the person that is holding it. I mean, you can see what it did to Smeagol
and Frodo.
Or why didn't Gandalf tell him to destroy the ring?
Unmuted.
Way back all those years ago.
It was the ring.
Yeah, because it didn't react until Frodo grabbed it.
Right. So it really had to do with the person wearing it. I believe Frodo was just more open because he was envious of things of other people. Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, his character was a little different than Bilbo's, and so his character already had that open point of jealousy of what other people had.
Muted.
So when he had the ring, it just fed on that.
Yeah.
And so it when Bilbo had it, it was not apparent that it was that kind of ring. When Frodo had it, it changed him.
Well, it also changed Bilbo because it didn't age him. But when Frodo picked it up, the etching on the ring came out.
Yes,
and
because of Frodo's character.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like written character. I mean like his
personality.
Yeah.
Which would explain why the ring wraith didn't detect the ring when Bilbo used it, but did
because
when Frodo
Bilbo had pure spirit.
Yeah.
Bilbo was just Bilbo.
Yeah.
He just did his own thing. He wasn't jealous of anybody. He was happy to be himself. And then Frodo was a much younger hobbit.
Yeah.
And he wasn't as he hadn't lived the same kind of life, and he did have those tendencies to want what others had, and the ring fed on it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Alrighty then.
So
And I think that's why even it would affect Sam too, because Sam was young.
Yeah.
And at the point where
Sam was also more pure of heart.
He was.
Because you can see when Sam was holding the ring, and there was the temptation to hold onto it, but there was never the temptation to use it for Sam.
Yeah, there was never a temptation to use it, and he wasn't trying to hurt Frodo.
Yeah. I mean, he was able to give it to Frodo of his own free will.
Yep. Yeah, it's all about character.
Yeah. Which would be why Frodo had to destroy it, because it does interact with Frodo.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still think they should have
Don't go there.
set somebody with Frodo.
With a photo?
Yeah. Set somebody with Frodo and Sam to help guide them. I mean, shit, send the dwarf. He's a badass.
I mean, I get it, but it was all about character building.
He could have still built character. Frodo and Sam went through hell. Through
And back again.
literal hell. Yes.
When it could have been avoided.
Yeah, when a lot of it could have been avoided. And
anybody else want to give their input on this kind of thing, on why they split up?
I don't really have input on it.
No, I'm talking to myself too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, so the phone number, if you want to call in, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm sure Nemesis
I've got it
knows
on
that.
the screen.
There you go.
718-664-9735.
Yes. Or interact on both of the live streams. We've got live stream on Facebook. We've got live stream on Twitch.
Absolutely.
So.
I would like to point out to our stage manager. Oh. Never mind. We're good. I didn't realize he just copied and pasted his response.
Oh, real quick though. There was a question that I posed a couple, was it last week?
Nothing, you're good. You're good. Sorry.
There was a question that I posed like either last week, the week before, or the week before that about where did you first see Jack Skellington? Have we figured that one out yet?
I think Dan has figured it out. It's a matter of getting anybody else to chime in and tell us.
I did. Yeah.
It's been a week, so where did you first see Jack Skellington?
Go ahead, Austin.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
Very good, Austin.
Okay.
Muted.
Yes. That was the answer to the question. Anyhow, that was a little off subject, but we're back.
That's okay. We can get off subject every once in a while.
We should probably start moving on to the next movies.
Okay. So, The Two Towers. This is probably the favorite of mine out of the entire trilogy.
Did you know that they filmed the first and the second simultaneously? They filmed for 274 days in 16 months.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah. That's a crazy amount of time to be on a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I liked The Two Towers, and I liked the evolution or the de-evolution of Isengard, of them chopping down the trees and basically destroying the land and building the wall and getting the soldiers out of the ground and stuff like that. The question remains, though, is were they there all along, and where did they come from? Like, were they just buried from an ancient war, or were they created out of some kind of magic, or where exactly did these creature soldiers come from?
You're talking the
They-
undead?
The ground.
Yeah, I believe they were probably previous soldiers.
Okay. I mean, that's what I thought. It's just never explained.
It wasn't a spell that created them in particular. It was a spell that brought them forth. So they were already there. The bodies were there.
Yeah. Okay. They were kind of badass though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Was that at Helm's Deep?
That was the first. That was the first attack.
So there were so many extras used in the sequence at Helm's Deep, and the filming went on for so many months that almost all of the extras and the principal actors got T-shirts reading "I survived Helm's Deep." There were so many of these shirts that extras would like meet other extras in New Zealand's main cities because they would recognize the shirt. So that's kind of cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if they used the
It was
whole
like half
town.
in New Zealand.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't a whole lot of CGI in the movie.
No, Smeagol was CGI. He was completely CGI.
Well, I mean, he had to be,
Yeah.
but
I love
when you
movies
look
that are
at,
practical. That use
Yeah.
practical effects.
there were a lot of practical effects and a lot of wide-angle shots and a lot of using the scenery that they had versus putting it in a sound stage and putting up green screen, which is what they do with a lot of other movies now. Like Endgame. The final battle was mostly green screen.
Yeah.
And then you look at Lord of the Rings, and we had the technology back then to do the CGI and to do the green screen because they've been doing it with movies prior, and you can see the work done on Smeagol. He looks real.
Right. No, because the Andy Serkis actually he wanted at least some of the parts for the actors to be able to like have something to interact with.
Yeah.
He wanted it to be an interactive character.
Yeah.
So he would wear the motion
blue
suit.
Yeah. Yeah. The motion capture suit.
Yep.
Yeah. But it was just, like I said, the way these movies were done was awesome. I don't have I don't have an issue with that.
I will say the one spot where they did veer from the story, when Frodo and Sam are in Osgiliath, is that what it's called?
Okay.
Sam says by rights we shouldn't even be here. It was a nod to the fact that in the book they never pass through there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, I'm trying to look up something. So in the Two Towers, you have the Battle of Helm's Deep, which was a phenomenal battle, and they had the elves come in and help as archers.
Mhm.
So my question is where were they in the battle in Return of the King?
Doing their own thing, I suppose. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they didn't know it was happening.
It's just, I mean, that's one of the main issues I have because they didn't really have archers at, I don't remember the name of the town, the big white town with the white tree. They didn't really have. Yeah. But they didn't have. if they would have had the elves there, because the elves are notorious archers, they probably would have done a lot better.
Probably.
That was Minas Tirith.
Yes. Yeah, the Battle of Minas Tirith. So.
And that tree was called the White Tree of Gondor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was the King's Tree. Or something like that.
It stood in the fountain of Minas Tirith.
Yeah.
I really thought the cast lineup for these movies was awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you look at the entire cast,
definitely one of my favorite roles with Elijah Wood.
Yeah, I'm not a big Elijah Wood fan, but he did do very well in this movie. And if you look at the lineup, quick fun fact. So Sean Astin played Sam.
And I was so happy that he was picked for that role.
Yeah. His daughter, Allie, played his daughter in Return of the King at the end.
That's awesome.
Where you see him with his wife and he's got the little girl. That's his real daughter.
Aw, that's cute.
Yeah, Allie. Or Alexandra.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But this movie, and I'm right now I'm looking at the Return of the King, the last one. If you look at the lineup, you've got Sean Astin, you've got Sean Bean, Cate Blanchett, Orlando Bloom, and these are all big names that a lot of people would know. Ian Holm, Ian McKellen, Sarah McLeod, Viggo Mortensen, who played Aragorn.
He was awesome in that role, by the way.
Yeah, he was. He's actually a very good actor.
Hugo Weaving.
Yeah. John Rhys Davies, who played Gimli. Liv Tyler, Carl Urban.
Loved Carl Urban in this movie. In these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird to see Carl Urban in a long blonde wig.
But it was so cool too because I was like, wait a minute, I know that face.
Especially when you look at Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Viggo Mortensen. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He broke 2 toes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he broke 2 toes.
Damn.
Also, during one take while it was the scene where he's floating down the river, he literally got sucked under the water for a good few seconds.
Yeah.
And managed to kick himself back up off a rock, probably saving his own life, and a safety team had to rescue him and take him to shore. Yeah, because he was very much, he did his own stunts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I
Probably
appreciate
a little
bloopers that turn into actual movie scenes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, he was probably not very happy after the scene where he kicked the helm, because he was probably in pain.
He was pretty good.
Where's the steel toes out?
Like, why can't I have those? So, but I've also got Andy Serkis, who plays Gollum and Smeagol. Trying to look through some of these other ones. Brad Dourif, who you would probably know more from the original Blade movie.
Okay.
Played Wormtongue.
Yep.
In The Two Towers. Christopher Lee, who played Saruman. And then, I mean, that's probably a lot of the big names. So, but there was quite a lineup, especially when the movie came out. Um, Back in 2001, all of these actors were big.
Yeah.
I mean, Orlando Bloom was big from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So,
well, okay, so something I thought was kind of cool because Andy Serkis does the voice and the movements for the Gollum, and he based his like perception of him on heroin addicts coming clean. And his voice on a cat coughing up a hairball.
The whole Gollum thing that he did was based off of a cat coughing up a hairball. Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
But his movements and the way he acts, especially as like the angry Gollum,
Yeah.
was based off of heroin addicts.
Well, let's look at it this way. Angry Gollum is Gollum. Nice.
Yes. And then Smeagol.
Is Smeagol. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Gollum was really based off of like drug addicts that are going through withdrawal.
Wow.
Okay, so are we looking at the last movie now?
Yeah, we'll look at the last movie now.
Okay. It's so hard because there's literally so many like little bits for every movie. It would take me a good half an hour to read through everything for each movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the biggest issues that people have with these movies is why didn't Frodo just hop on the big eagles and fly into Mordor?
Because Big Eagle could eat him in one bite.
Well, no, because they saved him at the end.
I'm just saying.
You
Maybe
know?
they didn't want to be rode.
Well, so the issue with that is you have the ring wraiths that are always flying around Mordor and flying out and about, and they would have noticed that, probably would have attacked the eagles, and probably would have killed Frodo right off the bat.
Yeah.
So Frodo had to stealthily out of, like the main public areas and public roads and stuff like that, get into Mordor, so he's not discovered by other people and not discovered by the ring wraiths.
Right. I mean, so a lot of people felt like it was a plot hole.
Okay.
And it wasn't. It was actually explained in the book why he didn't do that. The filmmakers didn't think there'd be a need to explain it because they felt it was obvious why they didn't do it.
Right.
The Eye of Sauron
Mm-hmm.
would have been a major obstacle, and even the author vetoed the abuse of eagles intervention when presented an early project of a movie from his book. Also, it is explained that the eagles are very proud creatures and did not take sides in the War of the Ring until the end, so they would not have assisted in that.
Right. It's like the trees.
Yeah.
The trees didn't take sides until they saw what
was happening.
Saruman was doing.
Yeah.
Because the trees in Saruman had always...
Neutral. It was all about neutrality.
Right. But Saruman had always protected the trees and respected the trees until the tree folk saw what Saruman was doing, and that's when they got enraged and basically took out Isengard.
Right.
So you have to wonder, was that the intention of Pippin and Merry all along?
Maybe.
To get the trees involved.
Right. Probably a little bit.
Because they fucked up Isengard.
Yeah. don't know. I loved these movies. I definitely am looking forward to watching the other three. Maybe even more than these movies, just because those were books that I read more frequently. And I have a, like I said, I love Bilbo Baggins. So
Yeah. For me, there was so much in the stories that was basically just filler. One of the main things was the love story between Aragorn and Arwen. For 3 movies, they dragged it out. And it really wasn't a big plot point, but they paid a lot of attention to it.
yeah,
And it could have been something just very simple. There was a lot of filler space in these stories to make, essentially, to make fluff for the books, to make them long. And it really wasn't needed. The stories could have been edited a lot more and told a much more focused story.
Unmuted.
And
true.
right, and
that was really a big part of these books and movies, was that they were really created to fit the fantasy fans. Because when you read the books, the reason they're so long is because he put so much effort into each, for lack of better words, each scene in the book there was so much care in creating what you're picturing in your mind. Like every scene, you knew what was around you. You could damn near smell the trees. You knew what color the ground was. Like there was so much care put into making sure that the fantasy was there for you.
right.
And I think that's what they were. Obviously they were creating that in the movies. They wanted that fantasy to still be there.
And I can see that. It's just when you look at it as an overall storyline, when you look at it as a storyline altogether, because I watched these fairly close together, they kind of it tends to draw the story out and kind of disassociates itself from the watcher. When they came out in sequence, a couple years apart from each other, it was different because you had to have that filler to remember the previous movie.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch them in sequence, it just becomes this long, drawn-out story that has a lot of filler, and it's the same. It can be said with the books as well. When a book is written, it is good to have details. However, sometimes too much details takes away from the initial storyline. Because in the Two Towers, there wasn't really a whole lot of focus on the ring. And even in Return of the King, there was less focus on Frodo until the very end than there was in the Fellowship of the Ring. And I understand that that's how the story technically is supposed to go and how the books were written. The problem is so you have this main plot line of Frodo taking the ring and destroying it. But then you have all these other side stories that kind of detract from the main focus, the main plot of the story. And sometimes it just becomes too much. You get lost in these other stories that you forget about this over here, and then when you come back to this, you're like, oh yeah, this is what we're focusing on.
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from, but I didn't read the books, so I don't know how differing the story is. But
It's really not.
I don't think the story is 100% about that one ring. Like I know that like it's a big part of the story. The ring has to get destroyed and all. But I think there's like almost two main story points. And that's the Return of the King, or like not just in the Return of the King, but having the king return and destroying the ring. I think they were trying to focus on the king part and a lot of the story of the last two movies instead of the ring. If you get what I'm saying.
Right. It was Frodo's and Aragorn's stories.
Yeah. It's almost like they were
Right.
trying to film two movies at the same time. It's almost like it could have been two separate movies. Like there could have been a Return of the King movie, and then there could have been a Destroying the Ring movie.
Right. And it's fine to have two different plot lines in a movie. We know that Star Wars has done it. We know that other movies, other great franchises have introduced different storylines and two different plot points into their stories. The problem with this series was that there was 3, 4, 5 different plot points in the movie.
I mean, you gotta think about it. Like how Austin described it, how we play D&D. We have one main like story, but each of us characters have different stories, and you got to focus on those stories, and those are basically main stories. So basically, took D&D and made it a movie and called it Lord of the Rings.
Right. Well, the thing is if you were to take our story from D&D and put it on the screen, or even write it down in a book, it would be chaotic. It's very different when you're playing it and you're playing it in sections and stuff like that than it is when you're watching it on a big screen or when you're reading it in a book.
I think that's the point, though. I don't think it's supposed to be watched like you're watching a movie. I think it's supposed to be watched as like almost like a long cutscene in a game. Like you're not playing the game, but you're experiencing it. You're experiencing these characters' stories and experiencing what they're going through and like leaving their home and going and destroying a ring and becoming a king. You're not supposed to watch it like a Star Wars or like a Harry Potter. Like those have very linear stories, and Lord of the Rings doesn't have. It has like 5 linear stories. You're supposed to experience those different ways, and just watch it differently than you would watch normal movies.
Right.
It's like watching a D&D game play out.
And I get that. For me personally, it was just way too much going on within the 3 stories.
It definitely would have been better if they would have made it more of a short series, like not really a TV series, but if they made like 8 parts and then focused on each of those different characters, then I feel like it would have been better. But since they did make them movies and like TV shows like that weren't big back then, it just came out how it did, and I think it came out okay. Like it was slow, it was kind of odd, but you're just supposed to watch it as if you were playing a D&D game.
Right. And I completely agree with you. I think I'm not saying that the movies were bad in any way, shape, or form. They were really good movies. It's just it's hard to take the books and put them into movie form and have it to where you would want to actually spend money to go watch these movies. I think if Peter Jackson would have had the ability to create them as either a Netflix series or like an Amazon Prime series or even an HBO series, something like that, I think it probably would have been. I think it would have been a lot better because you could have had Lord of the Rings TV series and it could have been broken up into different sections. You could have really focused on a lot of the story points, and
It's almost like they should have made a cinematic universe for it.
yeah.
Like there should have been an Aragorn movie, there should have been a Frodo movie, and then like other side movies. Like how the MCU set it up. Maybe they could have had like a big three like Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. They could have had that with this, and I think it would have worked out pretty well. And then Lord of the Rings could have been that Avengers type of movie, like where they all come together to destroy the ring and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think something that I liked, but at the same time, that like put everybody in danger a lot of times in these movies was the amount of practical effects.
Yeah.
Because people got really hurt.
Yeah.
Like, so when Frodo was stabbed by Shelob's stinger,
Okay.
Elijah was actually stabbed with a prop one, and in the extended edition DVD commentary, he and Sean Astin comment that it was not only very painful, but he had to it did damage. Like, he had to stay in the hospital for a couple of days, and then Astin on the commentary track jokes that they used appendicitis as the excuse, but then he's like, I wonder if that happening is what ironically caused Elijah Wood's actual episode of appendicitis later on in 2003. Like, fuck that guy up.
We get stabbed by a spider.
With a prop. But look at Viggo
Mortensen.
I mean, he almost died in the water. Like, guys.
Well, that's one of the drawbacks of having, again,
it's a lot of practical effects.
And having your stars do their own stunts is that there's a possibility that they're going to get hurt. However,
like super hurt.
But the end product is so worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This might be a little bit selfish and mean, but I think I would rather have, not really put them in danger, but I'd rather have an actor try on a practical stunt or have a stuntman try on a practical stunt rather than they just like put them in a motion capture shoot, throwing them on a green screen, and they just jump around on a trampoline. Like, I hate that. I absolutely hate when they do that. And I'd rather them do it practically because it comes out so much better and it looks actually believable.
The reactions are much more realistic. I mean,
right. And safety is important. Like, I don't want nobody to die or get hurt.
And 9 times out of 10, when stunts are done, they're done with the intention of having a stunt person do them. A lot of times, it's the actor that's like, no, let me do it. Let me see. It's not the director putting the actor in danger. It's the actor wanting to step in and make sure that his face is seen.
Yeah.
That's why I know you hate Tom Cruise, but I got some respect for Tom Cruise because he does his own stunts and puts himself in danger. But those shots that he does, they're fantastic. And it just makes it even more better that he's actually doing it and it's not green screen.
Yeah. Well, you gotta also think that the reactions of the actors is more believable because you got to think when we see Frodo getting stabbed with the stinger.
Yeah.
Is that really Elijah Wood's reaction to actually get stabbed in the back? Like, did that really?
Probably because he said it hurt like crazy. Like, it hurt. Just like when Gandalf ran into the beam.
Yeah.
And when Viggo kicked the helm. Like, there's a lot of real injuries that happened.
Yeah.
It created awesome scenes.
One of the most perfect practical effects shots was in the original Die Hard movie with Alan Rickman playing Hans Gruber when he falls off the tower. So they told him, okay, we're going to let you go on 3, and then you're going to fall. So they counted down, and they let him go at 2. And his face is the actual face. He was scared shitless when that happened.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't expecting it. And that's the shot that they used.
Yeah.
And, the shot of Viggo Mortensen, that was the shot that they used. Ian McKellen, that was the shot they used. You got to think that that's probably the shot that they used.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
With Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you got. I'm sorry you got hurt.
It's a real reaction.
But it's a perfect shot. And there's a lot of those in practical effects movies, where even in the movie It,
old or new?
The old one or the new one.
Okay.
Probably either one. Where they scare the kids. A lot of those reactions are real.
Which is kind of shitty, by the way. Just ruined a bunch of kids forever.
Yeah. The actor that played the new Pennywise. Skarsgård. Yeah. He was in an interview and he was saying that he was in a shot with one of the kids, and the kids was and one of the kids was like hyperventilating and crying and just getting scared. And when the shot ended, he went up to the kid and said, "I'm sorry, are you okay?" And the kid was like, "Oh no, that was perfect. That was perfect. We got the perfect shot. You scared the crap out of me. That was awesome." You know what I mean? And it's those kinds of reactions that make these movies more believable and more real.
Yes.
So, out of all of the movies, after Aragorn is crowned as the King of Gondor, he moves to the crowd, reunites with Arwen, and arrives where the 4 hobbits are standing.
Yes.
And they begin to bow to him, and then he looks at them and says, "My friends, you bow to no one," and kneels to them. And then the camera pans out and shows the entire audience moving to bow also. And Peter Jackson has said that is literally his favorite scene out of all 3 movies.
So I will say that is actually one of mine too. It's one of the most emotional. Because you've got this whole 6 hours, 9 hours of movie.
So it's like 12 total.
Yeah, if you count the extended, it is like 12. Where you've got these 4 hobbits that have never been out of the Shire, literally all 4 of them been through hell, and they essentially become the heroes of the story.
Yeah.
And we've been with them on this journey, and you're looking at them and you're like, you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And then you have the king of Gondor, who says, "Oh no, you don't bow to anybody." Like it's that moment where you feel that genuine love and respect from a king who is, supposed to be this top of the line. He is the leader. He's the most respected person in the land. Telling these 4 hobbits who, a year ago were, living in a shire and doing their own thing, and now they're the most respected people
in the kingdom,
in all of Middle Earth.
Yeah.
And you have a king that bows to you and has that respect for you, and it's that emotional hit that you get that you're like, and you get that wave of
pride,
emotion and pride and respect, and it's like, you almost get that teary feeling in your eye.
It kind of leads back to where we were talking about, like, picking the right cast, though. Like, I could not imagine anybody else playing the king.
No. Viggo Mortensen was amazing.
Yeah. He did awesome.
Yeah. And you can feel his emotion coming off of him.
I mean, it's a long time, because what I was reading is all 3 films ended up being simultaneous in some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a long time to be with the same people all the time. and I'm sure at the end, and that's the final scene, and like,
Yeah.
damn, we done.
Yeah. Well, it's
We
not
did
the
it.
final scene. The final
But-
scene is where they get on the boat.
But it's one of
But
them.
for them,
Yeah.
for all of them together, for the Fellowship of the Ring, it is the last scene. You know, they go their own separate ways and live their own lives.
Yeah.
And you can see that afterwards. But it's a very emotional scene.
Absolutely. I am like definitely one of the longest projects. Like that's a long time
Yeah.
to be away and be working together day in and day out. That's a big project.
Yeah.
But they made a lot of money.
I mean, yeah.
They made a lot of money. Like a quarter of New Zealand stopped everything for the premiere.
Yeah.
Like they were there, lining the streets.
Oh yeah, that's where they shot the movie.
Yeah, like super cool.
That's something I like
This
about
is-
this. I love about these movies is the setting and like the feel that the movies give off. Because I like fantasy, like
Mhm.
that kind of genre, and this kind of was just on the nose of what I pictured of a fantasy movie to like feel and look like. And
Setting, yeah.
I can't remember what grade it was, but in middle school, our teacher told us do a PowerPoint on your favorite like place. I was like, okay, New Zealand. And that's when I found out that they shot the Lord of the Rings in New Zealand. I was like, that makes so much sense. Like, not only is New Zealand very mountainous, it's also got beaches and stuff like that. And it just made for the perfect setting for these movies.
It did.
I couldn't have asked for a better setting. It's one of my favorite settings in like any film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful there.
Yeah. I will say, Peter Jackson did phenomenal with the story that he had. Taking the story of the Lord of the Rings, taking the books, and having people adapt them, because he helped with the screenplay. Adapting them to the big screen. He did a phenomenal job with it.
Oh yeah.
And he did a phenomenal job with showing us the different characters in the books, the different kingdoms in Middle Earth, and just getting you to feel the emotion of the characters was, I mean, it was a phenomenal job. I don't hate the movies. The story itself could have used a lot of work.
But then you'd be changing the books.
No, I'm saying from the book.
Yeah.
From the book standpoint. You know, J.R.R. Tolkien could have reworked it a little bit to where the story would have flowed a little better. But it works in the books.
It does.
Adapting it to the big screen
and keeping it true.
And keeping it true is tough. And it's tough to get an audience for that.
Obviously, it wasn't too tough to get an audience for that.
I'm saying, it is because of Peter Jackson. That's how you got the audience, because of Peter Jackson.
Partly, but you also have to look at like
the names in the movie, like the actors.
The names in the movie, and then the story itself. I mean, so many people read those books.
Yeah. Well, so many in our generation.
Yeah.
And that's who really
dove into the movie, yeah. So, some pretty cool facts and numbers.
Okay.
Trilogy together.
Yeah.
Over 6 million feet of film was shot during production. 48,000 swords, axes, shields, and makeup prosthetics. 20,602 background actors. 19,000 costumes made by the wardrobe department. They were busy.
Jesus.
10,000 crowd participants at a New Zealand cricket game who made orc army grunts. 2,400 behind-the-scenes crew members at the height of production. 1,600 pairs of prosthetic hobbit feet created. That's a lot.
A lot.
250 horses used in one scene. 180 computer. That's a lot to keep calm.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
180 computer visual effects artists employed. 114 total speaking roles. 100 real locations in New Zealand used for backdrops. 50 tailors, cobblers, designers, and others in the wardrobe department. So 50 people had to make 1,900 wardrobe costumes.
Damn.
30 actors and actresses trained to speak fictional dialects and languages. 7 total years of development for all 3 movies.
Wow. Can you imagine Peter Jackson going into a cricket stadium and like, hold up, you know, like I don't know much about cricket. I don't know if they have like a halftime or like a
they probably have an intermission at some point.
Like an intermission or something.
Yeah.
But can you imagine him going in and being like, all of you,
I need you
to be my orc army.
Yeah.
I need you to show up at this location on this day at this time, and you're going to get paid this much to wear orc costumes and fight people.
Yeah.
Like, I can imagine him doing that.
They're like, hold up, we don't have enough people. Let me take care of this.
Oh my God! Fucking the second assistant directors and everything going up to Peter Jackson. We don't have enough people for the orc army.
Like, we can superimpose them. No.
And hold up here, watch this.
No. It's New Zealand. They love us. Hold on a second.
Go to the cricket match. I need everybody here to be in the orc army.
Yeah, let's go. Everybody move this way. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, that would have been.
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of animals. It's a lot of. Imagine the planning and the ability to kind of keep everybody going in the right direction when it's that many people.
Yeah.
Like, must have been a big megaphone.
Well, this is why you have assistant directors and second assistant directors and stuff like that, because Peter Jackson's not directing every shot.
No, I'm just saying, though, to keep that many people in line and keep everybody flowing correctly, especially that many animals at once, like.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big.
That's a big undertaking.
It was a big undertaking, and it could have been a complete and total disaster.
Oh yeah.
But
he managed to pull it off. Like,
he did, and he deserves the credit. He deserves the accolades that he gets for Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit when we watch them.
Yeah. So the last spoken line in the movie, "Well, I'm back," was the last line of the book too.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Mhm.
So, interesting fact
Yep.
about, it's not really about me, but just interesting fact in general. The swords made for the movie was made by a, can't remember if it's Australian or New Zealand, but they're called Weta Workshop, and they made, they hand ground every hero prop aluminum sword. Like, it's made out of aluminum, and they ground them down to make the hero props. And a few years ago, Adam Savage went out there, and he remade one of the swords from the movies, and then he came back and made Excalibur from the old movie. But then I watched those, and I made my D&D character sword a few months ago using those same techniques. So I like how it came full circle. Pretty cool.
Yeah, well, except for Viggo Mortensen, because he actually would not use the aluminum swords. He had a steel sword the entire time.
Really?
Because he wanted to feel the weight of the sword.
Yeah. That would be.
But it was also named, like, so the person who did all the sword work and the training of them.
Yeah.
Came out and said that he's literally he is the best swordsman he has ever trained.
Huh.
So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Because he was like, nah, give me a real sword. We're good.
Yeah. I don't want aluminum shit.
I want a real sword. I am a hero.
I am the king. I want a real sword.
Don't give me any of that shit. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just tells you he really is kind of a badass.
Okay, so on Movie of the Week, we have a segment that we call Final Act. I'm not doing Final Act. I am going to do something similar, though.
Okay.
So I want to get everybody's, final thoughts on the actual Lord of the Rings trilogy and how it was made and how it was done and the storyline behind it and everything like that. So, we'll start with Miss Angel.
Well, I think I always came at it from a different view than a lot of people because I was such an avid reader as a kid and because I had read the book so many times. I was super excited to see what I had created in my head come to the screen. And I think they did it phenomenally. Like I said, obviously, not all the characters resemble what I created.
Obviously.
But they came pretty damn close. They were long movies, and realistically, you have to be a fan of fantasy.
Yeah.
You have to be a fan of the Hobbit series. Or both, to really enjoy the movies because they're long movies.
They
know,
are.
Like I said, when I was younger, I had a hard time sitting through them just because I was like, oh my god, it's so long.
So long and so boring.
I don't want to do it. But now I have such a greater appreciation for all of them because I love the fact that these books that I read multiple times as a kid are on the screen and that they stuck to the story for the most part pretty realistically. They picked phenomenal actors for each role. Like it was like they took so much time and care to make sure that person fit what we were reading. I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Sean Astin, for one, as Sam was perfect.
Yes.
If you read the books, he depicts Sam perfectly. And I love Mary. Mary is literally one of my favorite characters. I love Mary.
I love Mary and Pippin.
Yes.
Both, yeah.
Yes. They were two of my favorite characters in the stories. They did really well. So yeah, I do actually. I'm very much now looking forward to watching the 3 Hobbit movies, just because I remember those books a little more clearly in my head. So yeah, I think. If you are a fantasy fan, and we see that coming around more now, especially since lockdowns and stuff happened, we see things like Dungeons and Dragons are making a much bigger upsurge now because people are bored.
Yeah.
These are really great quarantine movies.
They are.
So
they are.
I say have fun with it. Watch them.
Yeah. Okay. Nemesis.
Yes.
Your final thoughts on the movies?
If you have not seen them, see them. If you have seen them, watch them again. These movies have everything a fantasy enthusiasts love, and they also have everything some D&D players love. It's like watching a full-on D&D campaign flesh out before your eyes.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I don't share the same opinion with some of my colleagues here. It was a great movie, despite it saying the name of the movie in the movie. Okay? Watch it. Take 20 hours out of your weekend to watch all of the Lord of the Rings trilogies.
Yeah.
And Hobbit trilogy. Do it.
Yes, do it.
All right, Alex.
Yes.
Your turn.
I don't know, these movies, the story is kind of jumbled in some places. It's kind of hard to follow at points, especially in the, if I remember the Hobbit movies correctly. This is very similar. But I respect and I love the hard work that went into it. I love when movies do that, when they actually want to make the movie because they want to make the movie, not because they were told to make the movie. Um, and all the hard work with the props and the setting pays off. I think that it kind of carried the movie in some places. The actors they chose, I would agree, they were very good. Um, I don't know. I just don't really see any other people. Like, if they were to remake these, couldn't see any other actors playing those roles. Yeah, you just can't. Um, but yeah, I like them. They're not really overrated or underrated. They're just right in the middle. They're pretty good. Not the best, not the worst. But yeah, great fantasy representation. Like
Unmuted.
you guys said, it's like watching a D&D game play out, except they're rolling D20s all the freaking time, or natural 20s, and it's kind of irritating. But I like it.
I don't know. Aragorn. I mean, he rolled a natural one once, but then the cleric came and saved his life. So
True.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay, but every roll was either a natural 1 or a natural 20 for these guys.
Yeah, yeah. He failed his death saving throws.
Or the DM decided to roll some crazy dice and just kill him right on the spot.
Yeah. The DM rolled natural 20s.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. Austin, would you like to give your final thoughts on the movie? Yeah.
See, I don't have a problem with that, with the name thing. It's just when they make it too obvious and like too trying to break the fourth wall. Yeah, is there a nod and wink after they say it?
I agree. He was really good in this movie. Yeah.
He was working on Pirates of the Caribbean and Lord of the Rings at the same time.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
But do they stay Austin? Have you've seen the Hobbit movies? So you don't think that they stuck to the story?
And you can definitely see that in Smog. I love the movie, but Smog was a god awful looking dragon.
I'm gonna guess Peter Jackson did in his movies.
True.
I'm gonna guess these weren't directed then by the same.
They were done by Peter Jackson, yeah.
Really, that's weird because he was so good about all the practical.
Yeah. Okay. So, despite my trepidations with the storyline and plot points within the trilogy, I did like these movies. I can genuinely appreciate them for how they were done and why they were done and in the manner in which they were done. As a movie lover, I can definitely appreciate these movies. The cast was spot on. I mean, getting that many big names on one picture and not having them be the overall focus of the trilogy is hard. Because you have all these big name characters, and some of them played minor roles.
Yeah.
You know, Carl Urban didn't really play a big role.
No, but it was cool to see.
But he was cool. You know?
Wasn't Manu Bennett also in one of these as well?
I think so. The guy that played... anyway, we'll move on from that. So you had a lot of these big... Because we only have a few minutes. A lot of these big name actors that played these big roles, or that normally play these big roles, played smaller roles in this movie, and it was done perfectly. The scenery was done perfectly. The props, everything about these movies was damn near perfect. The Lord of the Rings will definitely go down in movie history as one of the best trilogies ever made. It's one of those trilogies that appeals to the genre in which it's in. So again, like I said, despite my issues with the plot points in the movie and the issues that I brought up at the beginning, I do like these movies. I really do. And with that being said, we've only got a few minutes left. I want to thank all my co-hosts tonight, Miss Angel.
Thank you.
Alex.
Yep, it's good to be on.
Nemesis.
Yes.
And Austin for joining us and for, helping us with the live feed. Thank you very much again. And Nemesis with his live feed on Twitch. I do want to say, support your veterans, fire, police, and EMS. They're out there every day putting their lives on the line for you. So, give the ones that deserve the respect that they deserve. As always, be safe, be smart. We want you back here every night that we broadcast on Wiki Curiosity Media. We will not be having a note-by-note this Friday. We will not be having a movie of the week on Sunday because it's Valentine's Day, and we probably won't be anywhere near the studio. We'll be having a Falling from Grace next Tuesday.
Yep.
And a Cinephiles next Wednesday. Stay tuned to both of those pages for, information on those. I want to thank all of our listeners and supporters and all of our followers. We do greatly appreciate all of you. We do love all of you. Thank you again for all the support you give. I want everybody to have a fantastic rest of the week. We will see you back here for Wiki Curiosity Media on Tuesday and for Behind the Screens on next Wednesday. I hope you all have a fantastic week.
Thank you guys. Have a great week.
Night.
We will see you on Tuesday.
Good night.
And as we leave tonight, we're going to leave you with some less love. Y'all have a good night.
Strip it down, it's just you and me. You cut me off and say you're tired of talking. It's not as if we can't agree, but you've lost your will to fight. You're packing up all your things to leave, and these will be our last words. Then the chance will be lost, and I ain't too proud. If you love me, you would hold me and never let me go. If you love me, you would tell me you never want me to be alone. If you cared at all, you would stop and never go. But you just turned your back to me and said, I guess I don't. Now it's 7 years